No.
Alright, we are live in Norisring for the DTM1992 Revival, the championship by PetrolHead SimRacing. We are coming to the final minutes of free practice, and it looks like it's going to be another dominant weekend for Henrik Andreasen in the Mercedes number 4. In second place, well, this is just practice times, but these are usually a pretty good indicator of what we'll see during qualifying. So sneak peek. If you like surprises, keep your eyes closed and mute me for a second. But while Henrik Andreasen's would be a second faster than everyone else, Antonio Costa is in second place. Christian Kubovic is getting the hang of his Audi V8. He's starting P3. Andrea Piazza P4. Closest is Blues getting the hang of his M3 BMW in P5. Andy Darnell's behind him in P6. There's 13 drivers here and a few more to come during qualifying, so it's certainly a race for the midfield this time round. So practice is about to end imminently, and we'll be able to get on with qualifying, I suppose. A lot of action to be had, a lot of questions to be answered about who's going to be the fastest, or second fastest, because we already know that's going to be Henrik. But you know yourself, we're in for a lot of vintage DTM action here tonight. Mike Bartman in the Audi is the first to make his pit exit, to start his outlap and try to get this qualifying time set in the first 15 minutes of this qualifying session. Everyone else is following him, including Christian Kubovic. Goes wide. That's to be expected. Cold tires are a hideous thing. You want to warm them up as soon as you can. So each of the drivers are going to be starting their first flying laps. They're coming down to the last sector in Norisring. That's where this is being held today. It's a German street track known for its old DTM races. And as far as I know, it's still going on for this day. So Mike Bartman, he was the first to exit the pits. He's technically got the fastest lap, fastest first sector so far. Rounding the last corner. It's a very hard corner to get right in those Audis. The Audi handles like a boat, and the four-wheel drive is going to get very overheated on that outside tyre over the course of time. So that's the benchmark. Bartman sets at 55.5. Piazza second, Photosyssiglu third. Like that fourth, Urbaniak is in third right now. People are going to be setting more and more lap times, and we're going to be seeing a lot more people's first impressions. That's a fifth time. Antonio Costa is in third place at the minute, with many more to come. Andy Darnell sets his benchmark 1 second off. That's a 56.5. But he'll with no doubt improve. We've got 12 minutes to go and 7 times on the board. Bartman seems to be the fastest Saudi and fastest driver on the track at the minute. Piazza steals the spotlight. He's in first place at the minute. The Audis seem to be dominant at this track so far. If there was a constructors to this championship, the Audi certainly would have won it. But if only any Mustangs had turned up this time around, it would have been the Mustang would have been really good on this track. It's nothing but straights, really. And Andy Darnell shocks us again. It's a second place start on the second row, no, on the first row. Whoops. Mike Bartman, the old pole sitter, has now been relegated to P3. No, P2. He's improved his time. He's only 3/10 off the pace. Darnell's tucked in right behind him in third place. Kubovic is in fourth in the other Audi. Mike Bartman has set another purple first sector. Wonder if we could follow up with a purple second sector. 300ths off, but if he can make any time in the third sector, he might be oh god, there it goes. Mike Bartman's hopes and dreams of ever achieving a pole. Henrik Andreasen has just done his outlap. And we're about to see a lot bigger of an improvement off of Andreasen here tonight. It's going to be Andreasen is a very fast driver. So it's certainly a class of its own. But the real fighting today is going to be for P2 and P3. I can just sense it. I'll let you getting sideways and slam bang into the wall. He almost collects the 4 of Henrik Andreasen. But no one was hit, thankfully. Kubovic in P5 is going to set a new personal best. What can he do in this 4-wheel drive Audi? 9 minutes to go, Christian crosses the line. Third fastest. He's the second fastest Audi on the track. Dirk Pfeiffer's now going out on his first timed lap of the day. The 45 goes wide, and he's going to have to do another outlap. Rest in peace for Dirk Pfeiffer. We got 8 minutes to go, so here's your current leaderboard standings. Henrik Andreasen is on pole with a benchmark of 54.399. Andrea Piazza in the Audi is in second place. Christian Kubovic third with an Audi. Mike Bartman fourth for Audi. Andy Darnell is the fastest BMW M3 on the track at the minute in fifth. Fotis Isoglu sixth in an Audi. Antonio Costa seventh. Davide Estrada is eighth. Bandiak is ninth. Yuri Kotochville is P10. And that concludes our top 10. 7.5 minutes to go. Things can still change here. And Bartman steals P2 from Andrea Piazza. Steals the last podium. He steals the last front row spot on the grid for race start. And remember, these Audis, the four-wheel drive gives them a lot of leverage in the starts. They just get off the line so much quicker than the rear-wheel drive cars. They're that of Henrik Andreasen. So who knows? If enough Audis get in front of Andreasen and defend, if they're able to defend well, then they might be looking at a hand like that pass at the start of the race might give them leverage for a race win. That's just a playful thought. This will be likely a podium battle between second and third, between the Audis and the BMWs if they generate enough pace by the end. Because if there's one thing that the BMW is better at than the Audi is managing tyre temperatures. A four-wheel drive has to have a compromise, and well, that compromise comes out of the four-wheel drive's increased degradation of the front tyres, as well as the heating up of the outside tyre. Norisring is very unforgiving on these temperatures, especially the softs. Antonio Costa goes P4 ahead of Christian Kubovic. He's now the fastest M3 on track. And Andreasen has just set a new benchmark of he's set a 53.9. Just when you think you couldn't get any faster, Henrik Andreasen just does it again and again. It's 1/10 up on the first sector only. He truly is in a class of his own. Two tenths up on his personal best, and he's going to set a new fastest lap, I'm sure. Just when you think he hasn't gotten any faster, he just pulls another one out of his hat. He goes 2 tenths quicker. It's at 53.725. What can I say? That number 4 Mercedes is in a class of its own today. When is it ever not in its class of its own? It's Andreasen driving it. He's always a very good driver, and any car would give him. Andy Darnell put it best. He must be an alien of a driver. Very rare have we seen any mistakes come out of him. So I am 95% sure that Andreasen's going to win the race. Try to imagine a scenario where he doesn't. So 2.5 minutes left on the clock, and these are going to be there's around 2 laps of time left, like around enough time for 2 more laps. And Andreasen has been called an alien by Andy Darnell in the Discord. Alien spotted at Norisring, to which I can agree with that. It's almost a second quicker than everyone else. And And then a two-wheel drive car to boot. It's a very skilled driver out of this world. So, in P2, Mike Barsman, the first to exit the pits, the first to set lap time, remains second. And third is Andrea Piazza. Fourth, Antonio Costa, Christian Kubovic in fifth, and Darnell sixth. Fotis Isaglu is in P7, he's still trying to get the hang of Norisring compared to everyone else. It's not an easy car controller. Dirk Pfeiffer is in P8. He was very late to start doing laps, but he seems to be doing alright. Decent midfield position. Enrico Tacchiville is in 9th place in the Audi. They're bound to gain a couple of positions at the start though, with the four-wheel drives. Just get off the line so quickly, those Audis. Davide Estrada is in P10. Brignac is in P11. Sonny Malucci P12, and Ricardo Costa has not set a time yet in P13. So at the start of the race, he's going to be starting the race at the back. So that's the timing sheet in front of you. That's all the deltas on how fast everyone does compared to each other. So this really does seem to be like, the Audi seems to be a very, very popular choice in car because of the four-wheel drive. But there are upsides to picking the M3 and the E and the 190E, as we shall now see. 5 minutes for warm-up. I recommend you grab some snacks now, or if you're a driver, do a few more laps. Make sure you're in the right mindset for the start of the race, or even do a bit of practice starts. You'll need, if you're not in a V8, if you're not in an Audi V8, then that lack of a four-wheel drive is going to be really hurting. So you can get anything, you have to find anything you can over those Audis. By over a second. Just mind-bending. It's out of this world from the Viking. Andreasen, number 4. We can observe Andy Darnell practicing a few starts. You can take whatever you can get on those Audis when practicing. This is a standing start. Davide Estrada's on the track with him. He's just doing a few power slides. Just having a little bit of fun, I suppose. Or maybe it might be an elaborate tire warming technique. I know I used to do that myself whenever I raced the V8. It's ultimately not very good for degradation, but you know yourself, you do what you gotta do to get the heat into the tires at the start. So, there's going to be 2 races. There's going to be a 15-minute sprint and a 30-minute feature. So, I've assumed that there's going to be a reverse grid. So, this will be very interesting to see. It's always mesmerizing to see Andreas and Tiger his way back across the field, and how quickly he does this. He just cuts it up like a sushi chef. But the real entertainment is going to be for the rest of the podium spots, like I said. So everyone seems to be on softs. They're probably going to be... I need to check the site to see if there's going to be a mandatory pit stop, because that's going to be a big deciding factor in predicting the strategy. There are no mandatory pit stops, but however, over the course of a 30-minute feature, there might be, might be a decision on to whether or not to go with the softs, and they may degrade, or what am I saying? They're all going to go for the softs in any case, because it's always going to be faster than the hard tire. It's like driving a stop sign. So I've tried it before. It doesn't work. It's a terrible tire. Well, if anyone has any brave thoughts about using the hards, that might be something to spice up today's race feature, and not the sprint. Not going to be enough time to change the tires. If you ever have any questions about the race going on at the minute, you can throw it into the chat and into our server or Discord, and if you have a question, I'll be able to give you an answer, hopefully. So if there's a certain driver you're rooting for in particular, I can tell you more about their race. All you have to do is put it in the Discord. The race is going to start very shortly. Remember, it's going to be Henrik Andreasen on pole on one side with a Mercedes 190 Evo, and on the other side it's going to be a certain Audi V8 Quattro with the name of Mike Bartman. Lights ahead of everyone, and it's away. Audi's got a very good head start. It's Andreasen being left behind by the Audis with Mike Bartman, Andrea Piazza. Piazza can't quite get the position on. Yes, he can. He goes wide, but he manages to secure first place, and into the wall he goes. Henrik Andreasen managed to take his first place back, and look out, there's a big roadblock at the second hairpin, and that is a stew of broken cars and hopes and broken hopes and dreams for Christian Kubovic. Mike Bartman is doing whatever he can to stick up with Henrik Andreasen, maybe make a move. He's got the slipstream, he's close enough. Andy Darnell's had a heck of a start, he's on P3. Dirk Pfeiffer is in P4 behind. Piazza's dropped a few positions, he's in P5 now. Eric Trotterville has managed to pick up 3 positions in the space of the start. Now P6. And that was just the first lap. Let's have a look. Andrea Piazza having a look at it, maybe not. He's going to be patient with it. Pfeiffer is going to be sliding into the wall all over the shop. Andreasen and Mike Bartman are second apart competing for the win. Andrew Darnell's another second off of Bartman. Closing in rapidly though, using the lightweight out of 3 to his advantage. Kiri Kotoshville's getting out sideways with that Audi. It's not the fastest way around, I can tell you that much. Andrea Piazza is on the inside of Dirk Pfeiffer for P4. Piazza gets it done. Bignac is going to try it through the inside, but no gaps were open. He's going to have to wait to pass Fotis Disoglu for another lap. Christian Kubovic is holding on. He's on dead last, 15 seconds behind the leader, but he's holding on a second from the last car. And that's a car that's round. Didn't catch what that was. That's Antonio Costa. He has made a mistake somewhere and it has cost him big time. Well, right side for Christian Kubovic is that he is now not dead last. Fotis Disoglu makes a move on Sonny Malucci for P8. Piazza is in the battle for P4 at the minute. He's behind Piazza is behind Pfeiffer at the minute. Hardly half a second separate them both. Slam bang into the wall. It's a 45. It's Piazza. Andrea Piazza, one of the top lapping Audis of today's qualifying, has gone right into the wall and smashed up his car big time. That's going to leave a mark on his pride, on his car, and on his racing results. Sonny Malucci on the inside. Christian Kubovic is on the outside of Sonny Malucci, takes P9. Christian's on a mission. That rhymes. But that's besides the point. He's on a massive recovery drive and he's doing what he can to salvage any good points he can. He's doing very well. Davide Strada in P7, P6. You can see Andrea Piazza and his very smashed up Audi. It needs a nose job, that Audi. That number 2 is just spun out. That's Davide Strada. He's made a mistake and it's cost him. Finally getting moving again, but he's 27 seconds off the leader now. These are tough cars to drive, evidently. Well, anyway, there's 9 minutes to go left in this race. Henrik Andreasen has managed to build a 9-second gap over Mike Bartman over the course of these 6 minutes. Andy Darnell, he remains in P3, 2 seconds off Mike Bartman. He seems to be losing time, like maybe a 10th or 2 a lap. Dirk Pfeiffer, he has gained 4 positions. He's in P4. Pirka Touchbill behind him in P5. Piazza, one of the first runs for today, has made a grave mistake and it's cost him 2 positions. He's in P6 at the minute from his qualifying position. He's dropped 2 positions. Well, that's it for lap 7. Antonio Costa is going to go around the outside, getting the inside of the next corner. And he did indeed thread the needle on Norisring. So the action has rather cooled down for now. There's a gap to mostly everyone. 7 minutes to go. Action's cooled down, so now that's everything. For people need to stay consistent, and they'll finish where they have gotten. They finish where they've gotten to. What's the word for it? Well, I'm having a bit of a blue screen moment, please hold on. If people remain to be careful, then I suppose that this is going to be where everyone finishes, if everyone stays cautious if they're driving and doesn't make any more mistakes. Davide Estrada versus Sonny Malucci. This is the battle for P11, or P12. Estrada gets it done. But Sonny Malucci might have the exit speed on the Audi. Less than half a second separate Malucci and Estrada, and that's photostatistically he's off, he's in the gravel. All the way back in P11. No idea what happened there. Sonny Malucci's chasing that Audi V8 relentlessly. Meanwhile, there's a pair of M330s, and that's the 7 of Urbaniak. He's round, and that tic-tac in M3 of Ricardo Costa has gone through. Urbaniak has lost a lot of time, and so has Sonny Malucci. He's gone and spun again on the start-finish straight. That is one smashed up Mercedes. So a little bit of an update on Christian Kubovic. He's, in the history of the race, he's had a little bit of a moment, and, he's had a moment and he's been to the back of the field, and now he's made it all the way back to P6. He's only 3 seconds away from where he started in P5. So I'd say he might be able to pull it off in these last 4 minutes, given the circumstances of everyone losing their temper now. Like, more and more people are spinning. Like, Fossis, someone I never thought would spin, has gone round at least once. And actually everyone from 9th to 13th has actually spun at least once. So it's just a testament to how hard these cars can drive when you're on the limb. And speaking of which, there's a DNF for Andrea Piazza, one of the front runners of today's qualifying. Very sad to see him gone, but to be fair, I had no idea how that Audi was still able to drive after that incident he had. Andy Darnell's in P4. He's looking at a move on Dirk Pfeiffer. E30 versus Audi V8. On the inside, Audi switches back on Andy Darnell. Andy's on the right hand side. Cuts in front of Dirk Pfeiffer. Dirk's trying to use all that four-wheel drive he can get, but Andy Darnell's holding on. Looks like he's got it done. It's the last podium spot, and he has to hold on to it for 2 more minutes, and he's got a podium in this sprint race. It's not over for Dirk Pfeiffer. On the inside goes Dirk Pfeiffer back into P3, and Andy Darnell's not done yet. He knows that Audi is running out of temperature, and he can't push for forever. It's another cycle of what we saw last lap. He's going to go on the inside. Looks like a pass from Andy Darnell. Look at P3, that's jostling for the lead right there. On the inside of the corner. Switch back for Andy Darnell. They've been side by side for a lap and a half straight. Dirk Pfeiffer's going to try something on the outside using four-wheel drive with grip. They bang together, they're side by side. But whoever's on the inside line is going to get that position. Andy is fighting for the last podium spot for Dirk Pfeiffer. There's 30 seconds left in this race. This is his last chance to get his podium that he deserves from Dirk Pfeiffer. This is going to be, without a doubt, most of these drivers' last laps. 5 seconds, they might actually get another lap in. Maybe. I can't tell, is that the race done for them? Or is there no one more lap? The race still seems to be going on. Andy Darnell is going to be still fighting Dirk Pfeiffer for the lead. Not the lead, for the last podium position. Christian Kubovic makes a move on the inside of Yuri Kotochville, taking back P5, his starting position, where he started from qualifying. This battle for P3 is very exciting. We got a spinner, Sonny Malucci again. He's at the back, he didn't collect anyone this time. Dirk Pfeiffer just holds on to claim 3rd place. Very good effort from Andy Darnell. Had us on the edge of our seat. Very good show from Christian Kubovic, a very excellent recovery drive from 5th place. And well done to Mike Bartman for being the easiest runner-up for Henrik Andreasen. Andreasen has managed to post a fastest lap of 53.887. And that's, well, general base mark of, well, where Andreassen's pace was for most of the laps for today. He's in a class of his own, I swear. It's not the end of the action today. We've got a 30-minute feature race going on after this. And we've got a little bit of time to burn before the next race gets underway. Having a bit of trouble reconnecting the viewing tool, so if I missed a little bit of the start, I'm very sorry. Alright, my viewing tool is back in. So I don't know if I've missed a race start yet or if there's still a warm-up. Ah yes, there's still a bit of warm-up, so I haven't missed much. That's a relief. Thought I left you hanging for a bit. So, while we have a little bit of a 5-minute cool-off from our 15-minute sprint race, I do assume that's going to be reverse grid, by the way. A little bit of info from Kubovic. Like, he acknowledges his first lap spin, but like, what a comeback from him, you know? Came all the way from the back to where he started in P5. Sudden drive by Christian Kubovic. And also, he says his prediction was perfect. I assume that was his theory about Andreassen winning again. I suppose as a reward for Kubovic's endeavour, he's going to have pole position. Well, I mean, it's not going to be very... well, it's not out of spite. It's actually the maths of how the grid is actually made. So what a surprise. He's going to be very surprised, I'd imagine. If you're ever curious to see what the onboard is like from the fastest man in the room right now, Henrik Andreasen is doing his own. He's doing his own stream actually. It's going to be an onboard of him, I'd imagine. So, if you're ever looking to see the secrets of his speed, maybe you can find it off of his very own stream. So we got 2 minutes to go left of warm-up. 2 minutes left to decompress after that 15-minute sprint. I'd imagine going ahead and refilling your snacks or going to the toilet. So now that the 30-minute feature is coming up, it leaves you wondering what kind of tire strategies we'll see, because over 30 minutes, that's going to leave a lot of time for the soft compound for the DTM tires to break down. The hard tires will last, but they're not very fast, which is the thing. They're a terrible tire. So it's very I'm not really sure what to think of it. Like, will you make more? Surely you'll probably make more time off of, like, if you have to stop, then go from soft to soft. There's no point in going for the hards. I'd say avoid those hard tires by all costs. According to Kwiatkowski, she lost pole at the last lap, which is unfortunate, but we'll see how Kiri recovers. Coming close to the end of warm-up. Cars are spawning in on the grid for the 30-minute feature race. It's going to be Kubovic on pole position, and many more Audis to follow him. I don't know the exact order because of I don't really know the maths behind of how the reverse grid is calculated, but this is going to be some juicy action. Well, it's going to happen. It's underway. So, light ahead of the drivers. Christian in first, Andy second, Dirk Pfeiffer third, Mike Bartman fourth, Henrik Andreasen's all the way back in fifth. Well, we've seen how fast his starts can be. Christian Kubovic manages to get a faster start than Andy Darnell. Darnell's on the inside though, the first corner. Might jump him. Incredible! It's Andy Darnell in first position. On the outside is Christian Kubovic. He manages to hold his line, gets an ample torque with the Audis. The Audis are surrounding Andy Darnell. Seems to be the faster car for the four-wheel drive. This is definitely an Audi track. 5 of the top 6 cars are Audis, so do you believe it? It's an ocean of Audi V8 power. Andy Darnell's in 3rd position. He's going to overtake someone for 2nd now. But he's on the outside line. He's going to have to try overtake on the outside. He's going to have to maybe brake later. Gives ample room for Bartman to wrestle. They are perfectly side by side for now. Andy has the inside at the next corner, but then switches back to Bartman's. One of those Audis just hit the wall. One with the yellow label on the dash. Couldn't figure out who that was. Andy is faring very well against the Audis. It's the number 1 that's actually hitting the walls. It's Hiri Kurtoshvili. She's hit the wall twice. You can tell it's Hiri if it's the number 1 yellow strip Audi. Henrik Andreasen is working wonders in that number 4 Mercedes car. He's up into 4th already by lap 3, 27 minutes to go. Andy Darnell's still in P3. 2 tenths behind. They're bumper to bumper with Bartman. Christian Kivovic can just hope. All he can hope for now is just to build up a big enough gap that Henrik Andreasen can't cash him. And they might have a shot at the win yet. Hiri Kurtoshvili's getting very sideways there. Andy is still side by side with Mike Bartman. But here comes Andreasen joining the fray. He almost makes it 3 wide. Henrik is getting a lot better. Whatever it is about that Mercedes, he's getting a lot better exits. Andy Darnell's wrestling past that Audi like it's nothing. Henrik takes 3rd. The Mercedes and the BMW bash. This is close touring car racing at its finest. Henrik is after overtaking Andy Darnell for 2nd place. But he's not going to stop until he sees that number 1 on the dash. He's not going to stop at Andy Darnell. He's going to go for Christian Kivovic in 1st place. He believes he can catch that Audi around 2. Believes he can make 2 seconds ahead of him. And he won't stop until he achieves perfect domination of this race weekend. So 5 minutes have passed, 5 laps have taken place. Kivovic is still in the lead from pole, but Andreasen is catching him very quickly. He's only 1 second behind, and Darnell is 2 seconds behind Andreasen. Making very good time on Pfeiffer, though. He's finally gotten past that Audi. And starting to show how fast he is without that 4-wheel drive nonsense. Andreasen and Kivovic are side by side. Andreasen looking in at a switchback. He's got the torque on Kivovic, and that's the 45 Audi of Piazza. Andrea Piazza, one of the front runners from last race. He's in the wall. But Andreasen has managed to take the lead from Christian Kivovic. He scrapes the wall a little bit. They're side by side actually. Christian Kivovic is still in the lead. Then it goes Andreasen in second, Darnell in third. They're all in half a second of each other. This is very close racing for their top 3 spots of today's feature race. Lap 6 goes ahead. So now it's Christian Kubovic ahead of Andreasen. Andreasen's half a second behind on Christian Kubovic. It might be ample time to make a move. Whatever Andreasen's got is got a lot more torque coming out of that turn 1 and turn 2 hairpin. It's getting a lot more momentum past the Kubovic and then to Darnell. Andreasen is 3/10 behind. They're practically bumper to bumper with that Audi. There's the number 4 Mercedes. Andy Darnell is staying very close, staying within a second of that slipstream from Henrik Andreasen. Andreasen's going to try the outside. Christian Kubovic managed to hold it, but that's the switchback again. And Henrik Andreasen, he takes the lead on the Norisring DTM1992 revival. Now Kubovic has to hold off the hungry Andy Darnell for second place. Eight laps in, those outside tyres are going to have to be overheating soon on the Audis. They're going to drop back in pace. Andy certainly has what it takes to overtake Kubovic. He's just waiting for the right time to strike. And that's the 7, strewn across the track. That's Urbaniak. He's at the back now. That mistake has cost him. Kubovic and Andy Darnell are like not even half a second apart. They're side by side, essentially. Andy's looking for any kind of opening he can get on that Audi in front of him. And you just know he'll take it as soon as he finds it. Meanwhile, behind Andy Darnell, there's Dirk Pfeiffer and Mike Bartman. They're both very fast Audis who wants to try get another podium this time around. Pfeiffer just narrowly missed out, narrowly edged out Andy Darnell last time for a podium, and Bartman picked second place from the 2 cars. So this will be a matter of attack and defence for Andy Darnell, whether or not he can hold off the Audis. Bartman appears to have overtaken Pfeiffer for P4. Let's see if he's in a position now to try and make time on Andy Darnell and secure that last podium spot. On the inside, Andy Darnell makes a slight mistake. He goes in too deep. He hits the wall. Christian Kubovic gets slightly away from him, but he's not done yet. He's going to keep going on him. Might be a slight bit of front diffuser damage for that M3. They are still bumper to bumper. Andy is back in prime position to overtake Christian Kubovic. You can just tell that Audi's running out of temperatures from pushing so hard. Meanwhile, in first place, Andreasen has lapped 11 times and has built a formidable 4-second gap to Christian Kubovic and Andy Darnell. Andy and Christian are fighting it out very hard. You still got 10 minutes. 10 minutes have passed. You still got 20 to duke it out between the two of them. And the incredible Danny has found the P4. There's another Audi that's joined the fray. It's Mike Bartman. Darnell crosses Bartman. And he doesn't have the torque to continue. Darnell remains in third place. He's surrounded by Audis, look at him. Darnell's on the inside of the next corner and he overtakes Christian Kibovic for P2. It's not the end of it from Christian though. Side by side they go into the last sector. He gets overtaken. Andy remains in P3. He has to remain. He wants to remain P3 and not give away his positions from those hungry Audis behind him. Mike Bartman is side by side with Andy Darnell, slipstreaming his fellow Audi to get the move done. Who's going to be more ballsy on the brakes? And that's a big hit. Mike Bartman. He's round. Straight across the track and scrapes Darnell. Darnell might have caused that accident. There's going to be a big talk with the stewards after that one. The aftermath of that gives Antonio Costa from the back of the field into P3. It's a new M3 into the fray. Dirk Pfeiffer goes on the inside of Andy Darnell. Darnell is now 5th. That collision must have done something to his car. It's losing time massively. Look at the state of Mike Bartman's car. Certainly needs a nose job after the race. There's no front diffuser left on that Audi, I swear. Bartman's in P6. He was contending for P3, but just got a little loose. I'm not sure what happened there, but it always appears a little bit glitchy on stream, but I think he might have been turned. We'll see what the stewards have to say about that one towards the end of the race. Antonio Costa is on the very back of Christian Kibovic. Might look like a very genuine contender for P2 in this race. There's 16 minutes to go, 15 have passed. 15 laps have passed. Still plenty of time for action in this race. It's about endurance this time round. It's about consistency. Pfeiffer's on the outside of Andy Darnell. Drops back. Has the better sense to not make moves into that. It won't end very well for Pfeiffer. 2 Audis slam bang into the wall. Just minor scrapes to the sides. That's to Pfeiffer and Bartman. That's the beauty of these touring cars. They can take and deal a lot of beating. They can take a beating and deal a beating just as well as they can each other. See, in a single-seater, a car like Bartman's won't be like Bartman's car would have been like his races would have been done, but like he's still going, and it's just a testament to how these street cars are actually doing. How strong they're built and how well they're designed and well engineered. This is real wheel-to-wheel racing now. Andy Darnell remains in P4. He's waiting for Antonio Costa to make a mistake. Maybe it's now. Tries to go for a move but doesn't quite get enough of that momentum out of the turn. He's under threat from Dirk Pfeiffer behind him. Which way will he go? Pfeiffer on the left, Andy on the right. On the inside into the corner. Keeps the inside of the corner nice and sealed. Allows for no switchback to happen on his watch. Antonio Costa might have had the move done for a split second, and he has now. Look at him go. Christian Kubovic is behind him. No switch out back has happened right now. Hardly half a second separate them. They're essentially bumper to bumper. Look at them go. Dirk Pfeiffer and Kubovic versus Andy Darnell and Antonio Costa. It's the M3s versus the Audis. Costa's in P3. Andy Darnell's side by side with Mike Bartman. And look at that! Christian's gone wide. And with that he relinquishes both podium spots to the pair of M3s. This is very good news for Andy Darnell and Antonio Costa. They got 13 minutes to go. Dirk Pfeiffer manages to capitalise on the shock. Overtakes Andy Darnell for third, or maybe not. Andy still has the inside line. He stays where he is. Dirk Pfeiffer is using four-wheel drive to his advantage, getting grip where the M3 can't. Side by side with Andy Darnell. What a thrilling track this is. Andy is learning from his previous mistakes for Pfeiffer. He had this last podium position stripped away from him last second because he didn't cover off all the attacking angles. But now he's learning from his mistakes. And he's ensuring that no such move will happen on his watch ever again. At least willingly. We are 20 laps in. Henrik Andreasen has built a 17-second lead over Antonio Costa, Andy Darnell, Dirk Pfeiffer and Christian Kubovic. There are 5 cars in the running for the last 2 podium spots. Antonio Costa and Darnell in the M3s are lapping very well, but the 3 Audis of Pfeiffer, Kubovic and Bartman, they seem to have good pace but no consistency. They're dropping back because of that. The M3s seem to be a much more consistent car, but the Audi has been proven to lap faster. The M3s of Andy Darnell and Antonio Costa just have to hold on. Perhaps we'll see a little bit more of that superb defense we've seen from Andy all day long. Andy's making a move for second place. Antonio Costa and Andy Darnell are side by side in the start-finish straight. The pair of 16s. The Audis are close behind, waiting for them to make a mistake. That looks like Andy Darnell's move. But Costa's gotten more torque. They're still side by side, going into the next corner. They can't trip each other up for forever, though. Those Audis are getting closer and closer. This has got to be some of the closest racing I've seen. And look at that, that's an Audi on the inside, that's Pfeiffer. He's stolen third place from Antonio Costa. Cost lacking. Slipstreaming. It's going to try the outside. Going to try get a little bit of late braking in. Maybe a switchback on Dirk Pfeiffer. He does it. Antonio Costa, well done. Antonio Costa is doing a very good job from backing those Saudis into each other and defending his last podium position. each of those Audi V8s are jockeying for position. Now that the M3s aren't tripping over each other as much, they're starting to build a gap. A small one, but a gap to those Audis at the back. Dirk Pfeiffer is leading the charge at the Audis. 0.6 is turning into 3/4 of a second, back to 1/2 second. He's remaining very close with the M3s. But both M3s have been proven to be very wide and robust in terms of defense. They're very skilled in racecraft. So it's going to take more than 4-wheel drive to best them. Pfeiffer's having a sniff at it. He's going to try the outside. He goes wide. Slightly, but that's just a wider line to try and get a better traction down to that long stretch of tarmac. It's Dirk Pfeiffer versus Antonio Costa for third place. Pfeiffer has what it takes. He's got the pace. He just needs to get the move done. Antonio Costa is a very good defender though. Pfeiffer has 7.5 minutes to get this move done, or else he'll be outside of the podium positions. He's going to try outside the wider line. He's gotten considerably more traction than Antonio Costa. They're side by side going into the next turn. Antonio Costa holds on. Mike Bartman and Christian Kibovic are now jockeying for position. For P5. Mike Bartman's broken up Audi is at the back of the Audi V8 charge. Andy Darnell has been doing a spectacular job. He's made up lots of position. He's been keeping those Audis behind for a very long time now, for around 25 minutes now, with the aid of Antonio Costa. Dirk Pfeiffer's on the inside. Doesn't quite get enough traction to make a move then and there. Start finish straight. If he gets enough slipstream, this is going to be a good opportunity. Pfeiffer's on the outside. Four-wheel drive torque. They're bumper to bumper. Antonio Costa versus Pfeiffer. Pfeiffer's really giving Costa a run now. You just have to hold on for 5 more minutes, buddy. And one of the factors behind Pfeiffer's pace must be the fact that he's wearing the hard compound. He's been managing to do this pace in the hards. where everyone else's soft tires are starting to falter. Pfeiffer is only just getting started, really. They're too wide going into the second sector. Oh dear, that's a very... well, never mind, my screen lagged. Costa's made a move on Andy Darnell. Now it's Andy's turn to fend off the triple pack of Audis. That put his last podium spot under threat. That was very close. At 45, just almost ever so nearly clipped Andy Darnell. Cutting it very close. Like Bartley goes slightly wide, he goes sideways. Sideways isn't the way to go in the Audi. Andy Darnell's fallen back a few places to now 5th. He's going to attempt to go down the inside, but Christian Kubovic, the pole sitter, gets it done. He sets his sights on Pfeiffer now. Pfeiffer's getting sideways. It's about to lose time for Andy Darnell. He's getting ever so closer. That slipstream's helping him. He's doing it down the inside. He's going to have the traction coming out into the start-finish straight. Pfeiffer looks like he's got it, but Darnell's going to get the slipstream now in the second. It's not over yet. Side by side with him and Christian Kubovic now in the fray. Brake late and brake hard. A little bit of a love tap from Christian Kubovic now, from overtime to Darnell. Andy's really giving Pfeiffer a run. Look at him go. Not even a tenth to separate the two. Andy goes slightly wide. The rest of the Audis are carrying much more momentum over Andy. There's time for one more lap now. This is his last chance to get his podium stop, as much points as he can to salvage it. Bartman goes slightly wide. Darnell's up into 5th. Kubovic 4th, Pfeiffer 3rd. Antonio Costa 2nd. Costa's went up 5 positions over this half an hour. This will be a very well-deserved second place. Pfeiffer, on the other hand, has had to put up with those hard tyres. And now at the end, it's really come alive and paid off for the German. Christian Kubovic hasn't really gone very well to plan. Three wide. And looks like Andy's still in P5. Dirk Pfeiffer claims the last podium spot in 3rd. Antonio Costa clings on for 2nd place. And Henrik Andreasen It's another episode of domination for the number 4 Mercedes car. The Viking wins again. Very well done to all of these drivers who've, and one of those M3s, Alice just got absolutely destroyed by an Audi. But yeah, these are the race results of the 30-minute feature race. Andreasen has dispensed another episode of total domination. Antonio Costa has managed to take up 5 positions from his qualifying spot and finish P2. Dirk Pfeiffer's hard tire strategy has paid off, and he managed to overtake Christian Kubovic and Darnell for P3. Kubovic now has to remain in P4 and Darnell P5 thanks to a late race struggle. But that's still very good, decent point.